Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to another episode of Unapologetically Strong. This is our special segment on Wednesdays. We got Wellness Wednesdays, and we got our number one mental health provider in here. What's going on, Steph?
Hi, Eric. Happy Wednesday.
How you been?
I've been good. How you been?
I've been all right. So we got sunshine and we got everything going on. And we got 7 days before the big love holiday.
Oh, that's what we're talking about? No, I'm kidding.
No, we're gonna talk about that. Did you know that most people break up on February 7th? This is what's called the big breakup day.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let me check.
No, did
my
you know
DMs.
that for real?
No, I'm kidding.
Did you?
I did not know that.
You knew that.
No.
Yes,
no
you
way.
did.
No.
Yeah. So
No.
So February 7th. All right. So let's get comfortable on this. All right. So February 7th is the big day for breaking up. So if you are in a relationship,
Wow.
on February 7th, if you don't want to spend the money on
Not about the money.
No, for real. If you don't want to spend the money, you break up with the individual on February 7th.
How much money are people spending that they need to break up to avoid financial distress? That's confusing.
Well, okay. Financial distress, is that what we calling it?
If you got to break up, it has to be.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily financial distress. I think you're giving way too much credit to the concept of money. I think it has more.
Okay.
I think it has.
Correct me.
I think it has whether I would like to spend that money on this individual.
Oh, I mean, okay. I would have to look into the research
A
little bit. That doesn't make sense.
We're not going to do research.
Well, happy breakup day. Good
so
luck.
yeah. So today 7 days before the big holiday, you and I are going to talk about sex is not a gift.
Sex is what?
Not a gift. So we're gonna talk a little bit about how sex is not a gift. And
okay.
So this is where it comes from. It comes from we're 7 days away. So I would love to have done this on Valentine's Day, but so just so that you guys know that's listening, every first Wednesday of the month is Wellness Wednesday. I know the name sounds a bit, hokey, but we're going to go ahead and roll with it. And so we're going to have Steph come in every first Wednesday of the month, and we're going to take it over. So
Grateful for that. Thank you, Eric. Really,
You're
like
welcome.
me and Eric go way back. I really just want to shout you out
I
and just
appreciate
how
that.
much you pour into the people that have been along your path. Like
Thank
as you are this like guru, black male therapist with his own practice and partnering with your wife and all of that. Just thanks for like reaching back and just always giving an opportunity. So I just want to shout you out. I'm excited about what First Wednesdays will bring to our community and to the listeners. Really am.
You're going to make me blush. Well, I'm red. I'm light skinned, so I guess it's real easy to make me blush.
Look at Eric
Right. What's up, y'all? So we are 7 days away. And in those 7 days, there's breaking up. But this is what I really want to do. A lot of times when we're looking at relationships is a big topic. So what I want you to do is put on your couples therapy hat. So that's one. I also want you to put on
favorite hat.
What? Oh yeah, your favorite hat, your couples therapy hat. And what I'm going to put on is my sex therapy hat. So back in the day, you know this. Prior to actually going in, and being a generalist, one of the specialties that I actually wanted to focus on not only was neuroscience, but also was sex therapy, right? So when we look at sex therapy is not necessarily the act of sex, but just how it actually works as an individual, as well as a coupleship. And so a lot of times when I'm working with couples, the concept of sex comes up constantly, right? And so because it comes up constantly, it is something. So if we're looking at things that can break up a marriage, the very first thing is money. Is not actually infidelity. It's money. And the second thing, because of money, is that lack of communication.
Yeah.
So sex is 100% about communication. So when I'm working with any client, where the very first thing is that we're going to do is talk about this concept of communication,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going with, if you have very poor communication skills, you're definitely going to have a poor relationship, and you're also going to have a poor intimate life.
That makes sense.
So I'm gonna throw it over to you.
Okay.
And just go from your standing in working with couples.
Yeah. So I am not a sex therapist.
Right.
So I just want to put that out there. But I understand that concept, and I get it because overall connection
Yes.
is based on communication.
Yes.
And if we think about what sex is,
Mhm.
it is a form of communication through physical touch, right? And even soul transferring of energy if you're
Exactly.
about the soul tie, right? Because that is the truth. But I think that it is important to realize that communication is the foundation for all connection. I just want to reemphasize that because it's how you learn who you are in relation to others, in relation to your partner, and even communication within yourself, like recognizing what your body desires and craves and being transparent and honest. If not, then we're just guessing.
Exactly.
Oh,
it is. And to go back to that concept of communication. So let's be perfectly real. All right. Every man and every woman has, I'm talking about biological, right? Biological man, biological woman has all the same parts, right? So the way if we look in this day,
I was like,
we're on radio, so I can't go far.
Okay.
But if we're looking at what we're seeing on
where's Howard Stern when you need him?
Right. Well, we're looking on TV and we're looking on all this stuff like social media and all this. It's sensationalized to this concept that an individual has some type of specialty in this concept of sex.
Yeah.
And you don't, because everybody has the exact same apparatus, right? You got the male apparatus and you got the woman apparatus. Now, this is the thing. The thing that makes it fit is the communication and your ability to listen.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're having sex and when you're in a relationship with somebody, you have to learn that person.
Yes.
You have to learn that person, and you have to learn that individual's way of enjoyment. So the very first thing you have to do once you get past the whole vibe thing or whatever, you have to be okay with asking that individual, what is it that they like? Now, after you do that, well, hold on. After you do that, you actually got to listen, because sex is about listening, effort, right? And intention.
Yeah.
If an individual's intention is solely for self-pleasure, no matter what, the sex is not going to be great.
No matter what the communication is.
Exactly.
But even communicating about that. So that's why I take it back to the foundation of all connection is communication.
Exactly.
So if you're out to get yours, and not ours, then we need to talk about that. Right?
And
we need to talk about what that level of reciprocity is and how it shows up not only in the bedroom, but everywhere else. Because what shows up in the bedroom is a manifestation of what you do not address outside of the bedroom.
Exactly. And so the idea is, how do we as clinicians help an individual with not sex, but actually the connection that improves sex in a relationship?
Okay.
So first thing, I know we got a break coming up in a couple minutes, but
that's good. Because if you said apparatus one more time, I don't know.
Is that what are we talking?
Go ahead, continue.
It is. So you have to be okay with being ignorant.
Yes.
Okay. Humility. And what else? So ignorant, humility, and I say learning. What do you say?
I say reciprocity in your relationship. So that goes to humility, but more so about what is the level field in your relationship and what frame of reference do you have about what the dominant partner, right, and the non-dominant partner is, and when do you flip, right? So that is about being very transparent with yourself and being honest about what level of reciprocity that you are ready for and what level of reciprocity you want to strive to as a couple, because we have to give couples opportunity to evolve as well.
Yeah. And we don't do that.
It should shift. No, we don't, because we want to be in cookie cutter, weirdo, westernized expectations, which causes a lot of harm.
So when we're talking about relationships and we're talking about committed monogamous relationships.
You have to be clear about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But no, I also, so in my practice, I've also had throuples. So throuples are, the alternative. So it's more than two people.
You have an interesting
I do.
population.
Come on now.
Okay. Go ahead, Eric. All right, Eric. All the throuples, Eric is accepting.
No, don't do that.
Clients.
So
I'm joking. Go ahead.
When you look at monogamous relationships, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Okay.
Monogamous relationships, we're looking and, you have to, it takes about 6 to 7 months. So if you leave a relationship, so if you left a relationship and it was a monogamous relationship, right?
Yeah.
And that monogamous relationship lasted for, greater than a year, right? So you with a person and then that relationship ends and then you attempt to go into another relationship behind that. The intimacy, because we haven't spoken about that, the intimacy for that couple, which includes, sexual intimacy, won't be there.
No.
Because because that individual that left the relationship, right, have to relearn this person. And I don't think people give, to your point, the time to reacclimate themselves to one another.
No, because they don't give that to themselves.
Okay.
It has to start with you, because whatever you do not do within manifest outside.
Okay.
So if you're not checking in with self and being honest and transparent about your desires, your intimacy level, your reciprocity, your concerns, your exploration, because sexual identity and desires evolve with exposure as well. So if you're not honest about that with self and there is shame or frustration or avoidance, that will manifest in your relationship as well.
Okay.
So again, foundation of connection of any kind is communication.
Okay. So we need to take a quick break. So on the other side, we're going to just jump into it.
Okay.
So what I want you to think while we're on break, we're going to take about a 3-minute. What I want you to think about is the evolution of this concept of Valentine's Day. So
I love this.
What?
I love it. No, I love it.
So when we were younger, so in a tradition in my household is that I buy my daughter a gift on Valentine's Day, right?
Aww.
And so my wife also buys the boys gifts, but right. So this concept of Valentine's Day has changed over time, right?
Yes.
Now I remember in high school that was the moment you were gonna get lucky.
Yes, the carnations.
Right, the carnations.
The carnations.
You were gonna get a little bit, right?
I loved getting my carnations.
So let's jump into that, because I think that concept of the relationship and that concept of how intimacy works, right?
Yeah.
Has evolved into this thing to where sex has always been a weapon and it had always been a commodity. Yeah. But I don't know, just lately it just seems way more.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like way more. So yeah, we're gonna head out.
Weapon of mass destruction.
Right. So
break time, right? I wonder what song's gonna come after this.
There's no song. This is just us. This is Unapologetically Strong on WOVU. Welcome back to Unapologetically Strong. I'm your host, Eric King. We have Stephanie Lewis here. What's up, Steph?
Hi, Eric. I'm gonna start calling you E.
You gonna just go for it. Whatever you feel.
Hi,
whatever you feel. All right. So on the other side, we was talking about this concept of how Valentine's Day has evolved for an individual. So tell me about yours.
My personal Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Or
my
Okay.
Why
so
would?
Because I'm like, wow.
You want me to start to help you out?
No.
What?
This is fine. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's go.
So I would say, as a minor, my grandfather, who raised me with my grandmother, he always just gave us roses. Like, we got roses. We
like red?
Got candy. Yeah.
Okay.
We got candy. Like, because he would just love on us. My grandma would love the chocolate covered cherries.
Yeah.
And so we would just eat on that. She would get candy, and it wasn't like an overemphasis on it, but we watched how he loved on her and how she loved on him. but it was predominantly about him loving on her.
Gotcha.
So then go to school age, high school, then it's that anxiety of who's going to buy you a carnation.
Oh,
you know?
yes.
And so there were times where like I didn't get carnations and it was like really anxiety provoking for me.
Yeah.
And like affected my esteem.
Yeah.
And then over time I would get them. And then that evolved to friends loving each other and we would give them for each other. College, I didn't really date so much in college. So I think that was more so friends and maybe what Galentine's Day is now was
What's
merging.
Galentine's Day?
Okay, let's educate.
What is that?
No, so Galentine's Day is basically where women, the gals, right, celebrate each other.
Okay.
So it's a lot of emphasis on wearing reds and pinks. It's a lot of emphasis on dinners and celebrating each other and just exchange of love, right? So I believe that may have peaked while I was in college, but we didn't define it, right?
Yeah, I got you.
Going into relationships, I feel like my best relationship would, he would get me the max of my favorites. So I was really into OPI polish and he got me the whole collection one time and the bears and he made me dinner. And so it was a lot of him loving on me and I really appreciate that. Fast forward into my marriage, then I was exposed to this idea that holidays are made up and we don't need to emphasize this. And what does Valentine's Day really mean? And so a lot of that relationship taught me to question it a little bit. However, you know, he would still get me like roses, red roses and candies, and we would go to dinner. So that's how it was. And I would give to him, but Sweetie's Day became about him. Valentine's Day for me. Sweetie's Day is Ohio.
Yeah, I was about to say it's made up in Ohio. But
it's made up, and so that's for the men, right? And so while we would still exchange in that way in our previous marriage, those conversations would come up, and that got me questioning, like, what is Valentine's Day? Which is really. If you really look at the history of Valentine's Day,
well, we're not gonna do that.
Okay, fine.
We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it now.
Yeah.
But
as a mother, one more point, because the final evolution is me having a boy. Yeah. So I'm a boy mom.
Yes. Brother Ace, shout out.
I know. Shout out to Ace.
Come on now.
So I just love him. So with Ace, probably the whole month of February, I'm like doing things for him. So if I have a candy bowl, it's all Valentine's Day candy and I'm putting little kisses in his lunch, right? So showing that kind of love to him so that he knows how to show that love to others and doing his Valentine's Day cards for his friends.
Okay. So the carnation thing. Yeah. So I'm going to go through my evolution.
Please.
Because I like how you put it in relation to the hats you wore over your years.
Yes.
So as a young child, I don't remember ever celebrating Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I don't remember celebrating Valentine's Day outside of school. Now, it may be because I am a boy, right? And it may not have been back in that era, you know, something that was celebrated, but it wasn't something that other than in school, receiving, what is that? You know, the little cards. Yeah. Now, for me personally, what happened was, because what we used to do was we used to say that the amount of cards that you got dictated the amount of pool you had in school.
Yes, the carnations too.
Well, yeah, I guess that too. Yeah. So when we got older, let's go to the carnations. So in high school, we did the carnations. And it became problematic because if you had a relationship with somebody and you gave a carnation to someone you did not have a relationship with, it was problematic.
Oh boy.
Right. So
drama.
And then as I got older and once I began to be intimate or have sex with individuals, then Valentine's Day was a day that you knew that you were supposed to.
Yeah.
Right. And then And then once we are professionals. And then once I got older,
I'm a black woman first.
What does that mean? What? Never mind. But once I got older and it became an event, and then once I got married, it became a little bit more intentional. And then once I became a father of a young lady, it became doubly intentional because it was a moment of of training,
Yeah.
right? It's a moment of training and it's a moment of teaching my daughter. But what I want to go back to is this concept of acceptance. So when you were talking about, the carnations, and when I think about the carnations, I'm thinking about acceptance and being accepted and the amount of self-esteem that I know when I'm working with my younger clients that they are struggling with when it comes to being accepted. And back then we didn't have therapy like we did.
No.
But I can definitely see that I might have, if I had a counselor and I had someone, that concept of only got 5 cards or 2. But once again, I'm a boy. They don't believe that we need anything on Valentine's Day.
You definitely do. It's to say that means that you don't need love.
What do you mean?
So to say that a male doesn't need to have the recognition of love or to be doted with love, then they don't need it, right? So the subconscious reinforcement in that belief system is that no one's being soft with you on Valentine's Day.
Right.
Therefore, you don't require that.
Right.
You can survive without it. And I think that is a reinforcement of toxic masculinity, that you absolutely need and deserve the candies and the whatever, like the roses, whatever. You deserve a rose.
Yeah. Is the intention. So men need the intention as well. And I think what happened, and I'm just going to speak for me, not for anybody else. What happened is that I equated the concept of Valentine's Day and it just transitioned to sex. And so that's where it comes into the money. So when you're dating somebody, I've been married for a while now. So the prices of dating are no longer were pretty low, right?
Not anymore. Okay.
So I feel sorry for my sons. So my son has a committed girlfriend right now. The oldest one, the 25-year-old, has a committed girlfriend, and I saw him struggle with the concept of intimacy and what's supposed to be done. He would ask me like that. So what type of woman to look for? I was like, look for the one that looks for you.
Oh, Eric, say it again.
That's it. Look for the one that looks for you. So the one that looks for you also is the one you should be with, not the one that has everyone looking at them, which is nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
But then
nothing
you're
wrong.
Be chasing forever.
Right. And so
wow.
So that was something that he dealt with. Now he's also shorter than me. Right. So we have that. Right. Right. He is. You're not supposed to break in like that. He's also shorter than me. So he struggled with that.
We have to release that expectation of height.
So he struggled on that. Now, mind you, he's a college graduate. He is, highly intelligent. He definitely, has the potential to make money. So he's more of a catch than most people, right? So he's more of a catch than most people. And so because he's more of a catch than most people, he, there's something there. So now, but I got this next one. He's, 15. And
he's tall.
Right. He's tall. He's taller than his brother. So we have this new one. And so I see all these, don't take me to Applebee's. Don't do this. Don't do that.
Factory.
There it is. Cheesecake Factory. So as a boy mom, or, how are you going to educate your son on the do's and do nots while being a woman? Now it's different for me.
This is good.
Now, while being a woman,
understanding
that intimacy doesn't cost money.
Yeah.
How are you going to do this?
Doesn't cost money.
How are you going to do this?
It's hard.
Okay.
It's very hard because there's social media.
Yeah.
There's social media.
Oh.
It is influencing Ace a lot now, just YouTube, TikTok. So what I do with Ace is I basically model. So as a woman, as a mother, he's going to dismiss a lot of what I say because I don't look like him. But what I demonstrate to him is what I help him consider doing to others. So how mommy shows you love on Valentine's Day, how you see others love people on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Filter through that and practice with your cousins, practice with your little sister, right? Practice with mommy if you want to get mommy something. And I just explained to him what's meaningful. So if he buys me a generic card and puts a gift card in it, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Who took you to go buy this?
Okay.
And I don't minimize it, but I connect the dots. But if he handwrites me something and he really takes his time, and I know he hates to write,
you got it.
I say, this is so special. You took so much time and these words were so meaningful. So I'm big on reinforcement.
Okay.
So the level that I reinforce with him will show what he holds on to, will show him what to hold on to. And the level that I don't, I hope that he releases.
So you have a client in front of you and she talks about, and before we go out on our Black History Month fact, you have a client in front of you. You recognize that she is struggling with male-to-male intimacy. And, well, she is struggling with male intimacy.
Male-to-male?
Well, that's different. Okay. That's because that she would have a husband and whatnot and how they interact. Okay. She's struggling with intimacy with males, and you notice that her and her son has a bit of a rocky relationship.
Okay. Is the son an adult?
The son is, let's go with teenager.
Okay.
And you can tell that she is searching for ways to do better as a parent to a boy.
Okay.
And so if we're looking at it based off of intimacy, you notice that she's had some struggles with intimacy and taught, things as it relates to intimacy. How would you relate that, as a clinician, to, you can do it on the other side. So I'm gonna give you time. I'm gonna give you time.
Because I want to think about it. But the first point is assessing deeper. But let's talk about it after the commercial.
So what I want you to do, I'm gonna do our Black History fact, and and then on the other side we'll talk about it. All right. Okay. So this is Unapologetically Strong on WOVU. Welcome back to Unapologetically Strong. I am Eric. We have Steph. And so on the other side, we were talking about a dedicated mom who recognizes that she has some intimacy issues and she really wants to do better with her son.
Yeah.
And so she's your client. You recognize that this is an issue. And just so that you know, this is an issue, quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Right? I mean, the issue is me. The issue is me.
At times, it is said that single moms or moms of boys don't actually know how to separate that concept of providing intimacy, right, to the son while keeping that son in the son's role.
Very difficult.
Go ahead.
Oh, I am a boy mom myself. Yes. So as a clinician and a boy mom, I mean, I get it. I get it. So one, I would just validate the concerns that she has and really encourage her for bringing it up, because that's one thing that's difficult as a parent, is to admit where you are lacking. So really leveraging off of that validation for her. But beyond that, I would explore how she hangs out with him, right? So if it's a teenage boy, teenage boys hang out.
They stink though.
Yeah, but they like to hang. They do stink. I mean, but they like to hang. Yeah. They want to be chill. They want you to match their energy.
Gotcha.
And so I would inquire how she hangs out with him. I would also inquire what their communication is like, because everything that we advise is based on an assessment of what is.
Okay. Yes.
Everything we advise is based on an assessment of what is.
The reality.
Yes.
Okay.
It's based on the reality. So I would explore what the reality is, and I focus on communication. We said that earlier.
Yes.
Every connection has a foundation of communication.
Yes.
So what is your communication like with your son, and how do you hang out with him?
Okay.
I would be very intentional about the language that I use, because it's important that we come down to the level of our kids at that teenage years to start developing a relationship with them. A human to human relationship.
Yeah. And parents.
I feel like you want to say.
No. And parents believe that this concept of a relationship is automatic with their child.
And it's not.
Yeah. And so
I had to learn that.
Let's give a formula. All right. So all relationships deal in trust. Do you agree?
Deal in trust?
Yes. The main, if the.
Okay.
I guess how the relationship goes is based upon the amount of trust within the relationship.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
trust is the goal, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you, this is the formula that I use with couples or in any time I'm talking with anybody about relationships. Communication plus collaboration equals trust. So in any relationship, you have to have that communication. Now, collaboration is a bit different. So we have these C's. We have concession, we have compromise, and we have collaboration. Collaboration is 50-50, right? Compromise means somebody is getting more, and conceding is you're just giving up. So when we're working with any relationship, the true evidence of trust is how you communicate plus how much you collaborate with that person in any relationship.
So I agree, but it depends on what her relationship status is as well, because I think that a relationship with a son looks different with a woman who is married to that son's father.
Yeah, I got you.
To a woman who's married and has a stepdad, right, of that son versus a single mom.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to emphasize the assessment. We're absolutely both right, but I think that changes that equation sometimes, because in a single mom's world, it's a different level of relationship with that boy.
Yeah.
It also depends on how his time is spent too, right? So you got, my son lives in two different worlds, in two different households, right? With two different women, with two different worldviews. So my intimacy with him is different, and it's impacted by multiple variables that would not exist if he was in a household with me and his father, right? It's different. So I think that it doesn't change the equation, but I think like in all math equations, there are variables.
Yeah.
And so that's hard, right? So the bottom line is the communication. We keep coming back to that, and which I love.
That you can't go anywhere, because the concept of communication is the key. So your ability to use words. Now, we also know that.
Let's break that down again. Communication is simply your ability to use words. But if you cannot use words, communication is going to be compromised, no matter if you go to therapy at all.
Right.
We're going to have to get the verbal piece.
Verbal piece.
I just want to highlight that because it's important.
So let's do this. Communication. We know that overall, women use more words than men.
We obviously in the show on the first Wednesday, we could tell. I say a paragraph, you had a whole math equation. I was like, okay, this is balanced.
Men say more words. Women say more words. Men say less words, right? So because of that dynamic, right? That's research.
Yeah.
And we're also taught as men to use less words.
Yeah.
And we're taught that if you use more words, you may talk yourself into something. Yeah. So we're already at a disadvantage, but that's not an excuse. With that said, the concept of communication is key. We're talking about words, right? How we talk, and we're talking about body language.
Oh,
and far too often, nonverbal and verbal, and
so important.
And most often, so let's bump it up to adult relationships, right?
Yeah.
In adult relationships, I truly believe that the reason why men cheat. So I'm going to go ahead and provide.
Take it there.
Yeah, I'm going to take, because you're a woman, I'm a male. You can speak for your side, I'm going to speak for my side. The reason why men cheat is because they're not being heard. Now, what do I mean by not being heard? They're not being heard verbally and non-verbally. There are times when if you are connected to a quality human who happens to be a male, that means they've gone through a lot already, right?
Yes.
In order to get them to be quality, there are certain things that they had to be molded into.
Yes.
And when that individual tells you what they want, and you don't give them what they want, then what's the point of them using the words?
Well, I'm really stuck at if you don't give them what they want.
But that's what happens.
But that's the part of your equation that I think we have to consider, which is the collaboration.
Exactly.
In collaboration, it's not about what you want and what I want. It's about what we need.
Well, it's a give and take.
We need.
Right.
the institute of the couple, the being
It is
of the couple.
But wait,
what
so
the couple
there are
needs.
3 things as a part of every relationship.
Yeah.
It's one, it's 2 individuals.
Yes.
And it's the relationship.
And God.
Well, yes. If we're going to talk
Yes.
about the spirituality.
Always.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's say that those other aspects are already taken care of, right?
Okay.
There's respect for the relationship.
Yes.
There's respect for the concept of God.
Yes.
There's respect for the placement of God. Let's go with that. Better.
Yes.
Now, it's supposed to be that next thing is the respect for each individual. We already have the we taken care of.
Got it. Okay.
So we're already at the collaboration part.
Agree.
A part of that collaboration part is understanding this concept of what a person needs, not wants.
Yes. Yes.
So if I come to you and I need something, then that means that if you are a part of my community,
yes,
which is my relationship, then give it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that is.
Because
it's the demand in your energy that I'm trying to manage. But I get it.
Yeah.
I respect the.
But it goes both ways.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I think it is. Let's take it back to communication, right?
Go for it. But you're supposed to be speaking as a woman.
Okay.
Okay.
I think this is our natural flow.
Okay. Yeah.
So I agree with that. This is the thing that we have to bring back into the communication.
Mm-hmm.
What is that other partner, the woman's
Mm-hmm.
capacity to give you what you need when you want it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is unfair for you to shut down, withdraw, and result to cheating as a way to cope with not getting your needs met without further communication that explores why I can't meet that need. It could be a lack of understanding of that need. It could be a lack of capacity for that need. And it could be a need for direction. So a lack of understanding. Why do you need this? And what does this say about you? I want to learn you through your needs. 2, do I have capacity to meet that need at the time? 3, tell me what to do. How do I meet that need? But if we go back to what I originally said about why self is key in the communication and honesty we have with ourselves, then you will know how to communicate that to me if you've done the work. But to shut down and say, give me what I need, and you can't understand that any further, means you're expecting me to overcompensate for a lack of your understanding of yourself.
That's definitely.
And that was a lot of feminine words, and I don't care because it's what it is.
Well, look, so yes, I agree 100%. Now,
ego. Instagram says ego.
Now, mind you, I said quality individual. Remember, I said quality individual. So what
a quality individual wouldn't
is
say,
subjective.
Give me what
no.
or I'm going to go to my side chick.
No, I'm not saying that.
But
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So we're not. Let's not talk about extremes. Let's just talk about 2 individuals in a respectful relationship, and what an individual is saying on both sides. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go to.
Y'all turned the heat up in here?
No, this is just us. So let's hit it. Let's hit a timeout on this. Let me make it clearer from what I'm actually saying. So everybody knows the 5 love languages. This is how I explain it when I'm working with couples as well as individuals, and it did get hot. So this is how I explain it. So everybody knows the 5 love languages, right? You got quality time. What is it? All that other stuff. I got my therapy hat off, right?
Yeah.
This is how I explain it. So let's say you're walking on the beach and you see a rock and you say, ooh, this rock is cool. It makes me feel this way. Let me pick this rock up, right?
Yeah.
You're walking a little bit more and you gather more rocks, right? At the end of it, you got 5 rocks, all right? You have 5 rocks. And so these rocks are something that means something to you and give you fuel. And you so happen to connect with somebody next and you care for this individual. And what you do, and this is how I explain the 5 love languages, you give that person the 5 rocks, right? Yeah. You say, these 2 are my most important. These 2 are the ones that give me great energy. All of these are important, but these 2 give me great energy. I'm going to give those to you. And while giving those to you, when I am feeling A, B, and C, and I'm going to express myself, give me the rock that pertains to that.
Okay.
This is how I explain the 5 love languages. The 5 love languages isn't about the individual who you give the rocks to. It's the ability of the individual that has the rocks to actually know that these rocks are important.
Yes.
That's one.
Yes.
Secondly, to know that when they give that rock to the person that they care about, that this person is trustworthy to provide it back. And then thirdly, it's the individual who has listened, who has learned, who has collaborated. Say, okay, I noticed that my partner is this way. He said or she said, provide me with this rock. Let me go ahead and do it. Not because I'm at work, not just provide the rock.
Okay.
That's how I explain the love language. That's what I'm talking about.
So that is completely different than give me
Well, that's what you.
or I'm going to go to the side chick.
That's not what
and I want to apologize that we got the whole room hot. Y'all, really, the temperature changed.
It raised.
Because it triggers me. I am a product, or I've experienced infidelity at a very aggressive rates. Right. So to me, when you have that kind of demand, that triggers right a protection shield. And so it's to consider both, like what are both people dealing with. So if that foundation is already laid and I know that this is your need and you're highlighting that I missed it, here baby, but like that's
not actually what happens.
So if you look at healthy adults,
right, even with two healthy adults, now the glue is the communication and the trust and the collaboration. So that's the key. But we got to take a quick break. Okay. And we're going to come on the other side. We're going to finish this and we're going to provide some type of what I want to call it, let's say resources, because
it's resource time.
It's resource time. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break.
It cooled off in here.
Right. I think they did a little something. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to go from there. This is Unapologetically Strong on WOVU. Welcome back. See, I didn't give any break music that time because I think we needed to calm down. We needed a window seat. All right. So let's get it. Let's wrap a bow on this because we got about 10 minutes of the show left. So let's wrap this up. All right. So
okay, go ahead.
What? No, so this is what I'm going to say. All right. In any aspects of infidelity, what?
I'm trying not to laugh. Go ahead.
What are you doing? Okay, any aspect of infidelity, there is not about sex. Is more about an individual's attempt to assuage themselves, calm themselves, soothe themselves, get themselves right. And I truly
get themselves right.
Yeah.
Can you say more about that?
So the reason why I say that infidelity isn't about sex and is more about an individual's lack at a given point is that if a person has those moments, they recognize some of the dark spots or the blind spots that they have.
Okay.
So relationships, there are, once again, we look at the respect factor.
Yeah.
And a lot of times a person steps out because they have lost respect for the relationship. And when they lose respect for the relationship, it's easier to step out. And then when it becomes public, right, in a way that is problematic and toxic, that's when they've lost respect for the other person and themselves.
Yes.
And so,
God.
Yes, and God, yes. And in our profession, a lot of times people do things because they don't have the strength to do the hard thing.
Yes, and they don't have effective coping skills.
Yes.
Because what you were saying, like get themselves right, what I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's a form of regulation.
Yeah.
How you regulate.
Yes.
So I can regulate myself by stepping out of my marriage. And so doing that creates a habit.
Exactly.
That I cope with discomfort in my relationship.
Right. But that was there before because it's a running, remember, that's a running concept. But go ahead.
But that behavior then reinforces the fact that there are always going to be there's going to be the option to regulate in this way.
Yes.
And I don't have to do the work. On the flip side, the accountability of the woman that participates with the man who is stepping out also reinforces that dysfunction by way inviting that behavior into their relationship.
Because it's hedonism, it's pleasure seeking. And and above all, we want to feel good. And the easiest way to feel good is sex.
Yes.
That's like, just seriously.
It's the easiest way that folks have accessibility to based on how they've been conditioned.
Yeah. And some people say drinking, alcohol, stuff, but all that is man-made.
Yeah.
Sex is not man-made.
No, it's spiritual. And it's also, I know we don't have a lot of time.
We got 8 minutes.
Okay,
what you doing?
I got it.
Okay.
Let's talk about the spiritual aspect.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the heat, and let's go back. No one's judging anybody who has cheated.
No qualifiers. You just roll with it.
Qualifiers.
No, just roll with it. Go what you're about to say.
We forgive you. No, okay, because I just want to make sure. No, but I want people to know, because I want them. I want cheaters to listen. Okay, so that's the point. But let's go back. So when you condition yourself to regulate by way of having sex with someone outside of your relationship.
Yes.
And you gain that regulation and power and control, what you are also doing is snatching the vulnerability of someone else who's not involved.
Right.
And it's stealing. It's stealing that energy that is untainted by a commitment or a level of responsibility that's fun and free. You're taking that energy through sex and you're storing it within yourself.
Right.
And that becomes addicting. So then you do it again. And so essentially,
you ain't get caught.
Snatching.
Let's be honest. Yeah.
It's soul snatching.
So
that's not going to sustain you when you can restore your soul through regulation.
Yes.
Through regulation of self, lots of options to do that.
Yes.
And then you don't have to do that. So you can protect yourself, your covenant with God, your relationship, and the innocent person that you stole from.
I don't think they're necessarily innocent. But that's another show.
They're innocent. Vulnerability.
Yeah.
And innocence is probably a topic we should talk about.
Yeah, I think next round, because there are some definitely intentional individuals, and it has become economically increasing to be aside anybody. So
that's a whole show. Okay,
time out.
First week of March.
What? Yes, March. Yes, first week of March. We'll come back to this.
Yeah.
With that said, let's go back to and I keep saying with that said. No.
Okay.
Stop it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you a quick story. Let's go back to spirituality.
Yes.
So you know Taoism, right?
Yeah.
Taoism is a form of Eastern religion. So I had a client come into my practice. He said he had issues with porn. So we talked about it, and he did this thing. And so I said, so what's, how are you helping yourself? He said, I got this, I'm doing this thing called semen restriction, right? Semen restriction. And I'm not sure if you paid attention within the last 12 to 18 months, like in the Black community, Black males, for some reason, were very high on this, right? The semen restriction, it gives energy and this and that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sitting here listening to this young lad. Now, mind you, he's about 20, less than 30, right? So I'm listening to him. And I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And the very first thing he says, great, because when I talk to other people, I seem weird. I said, well, let me ask you, how did you learn about this? From YouTube? Do you have a mentor? No, right? We went through all this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let me help you out. I said, I need for you to look. There's a book up here called The Tao of Sexuality. In this book, it talks about semen restriction, and this concept is way before America was ever invented.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so he was amazed that I was like, yeah, it's Taoism. If you look at if you look within Taoism, you look within a lot of different, spirituality, take out the Abrahamic religions, right? And look at different, spirituality
it's a promoted ritual.
Yes. And so what was interesting and what was somewhere where I was like, is that, he was amazed that this is something that has been around for eons, and he's just now recognizing, and he's doing it completely wrong.
Of course. Well, see, here's the thing. Anything that will tie us back to our highest, most powerful spiritual self, the efforts in Western culture, in America, is to erase it.
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't, so it makes sense
Yes.
because the more that we are a people
Mhm.
of consumption
Mhm.
and greed and
Mhm.
self,
Mhm.
the more that we can be controlled.
Yeah.
The more we are of our natural, most innate,
Mhm.
highest self,
Mhm.
that's where our power is unlocked, and then we control
Yes.
society.
And I suggest that
God made the earth and then made us
yes,
to have dominion
over.
by way of his spirit.
Exactly.
So any efforts to detach us from that
Mhm.
and say no, just, can I say no?
Let's not.
Okay. So anyway, you're like ejaculating over and over and releasing and being greedy about it,
Yes.
being selfish and greedy about it, that reduces you being tapped in.
Yes.
And so if we're tapped in, then we can't be controlled.
We
So
can't.
I'm glad you hooked him up with
I'm
it.
gonna let you. So if anybody
sorry.
I'm gonna let you go with that.
Okay.
If anyone wants to actually read about that, it's I believe it's called. I haven't looked at it. The Tao of Sexuality or Tao of Sex, but at any case,
I love it.
if you got brothers that are actually, because like I said, a lot of black males for some reason was like, oh yeah, it gives you a lot of energy. And he even said the words like, oh, it's energy and this, and I'm like.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And it's also, if you read the book, it's also more that should be done for
Absolutely.
for 50 and 60-year-olds.
Yeah.
Not actually the young people, but that's besides the point. All right. Give them your Instagram so that we can get up out of here.
IG stay poppin'. No, I'm kidding.
What?
I had to break it
What
up.
is that?
You got so passionate.
Come on,
about
do
that.
it. Come on.
So you can find me at the Perspective Liaison, LIAISON on Instagram. You can find me on Psychology Today, Stephanie Lewis. I am accepting new clients. I'm here to support you, but we'll be here the first Wednesday at 12 o'clock. So let us know what you want us to talk about.
Let's have
right,
some
Eric?
fun. Yeah.
So I appreciate you
No
so
sweat.
much.
No
This
sweat.
was beautiful.
No sweat. We gotta get up out of here. So this is so next week we got a couple brothers coming in because we're going to talk about I Am My Brother's Keeper. So we're gonna do that, and so we're gonna talk a little bit about that on Thanksgiving. But thank you all for listening. This is Unapologetically Strong on WOVU. Peace.